I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Here's some of what at least some of you have been waiting for. Yeah, the big box. It's a whole pile of stuff. Now, you don't really think I'd leave you there. These are just some of the items that came out of the big box. It was packed full of stuff. I had a little problem with the camera. It kept dropping out on me, so I ended up having to sort the stuff 4 different times. So now you get to see it after it's all been sorted and sorted and sorted. These reduced shank drill bits, not the greatest in the world, but useful if you've got a 1/4 inch drill motor and you need to drill a hole in something fairly soft. This will do it. This is 1/2 inch, and the smallest in the box is 3/8. Then got a pile of spade bits. 1/2 inch, 9/16, 11/16, 3/4, 1 1/8, and 1 1/2. Here's a grinding wheel. This is for a die grinder. It's a mounted stone. This is a milling cutter. 1/2 inch milling cutter. Countersinks. 2 of them. And a rotary burr. This is a counter bore for countersinking the heads of hex head bolts. And this is a set of 1/8 inch shank rotary burrs. Work quite nice in a Dremel tool. Kind of die maker tools or pattern maker tools. Here's a couple of church keys, paint can openers. And here's a tray full of drill bits. From 25/64 on down to 5/64. This is one of the prizes of the whole thing. These are all ignition point files. This is a West German double cut flat file. Now these were in the box, just kind of strung in there loose. These little files, I like to keep them in a plastic drinking straw. I know, they're not legal in California, but we're not in California. Then we have some kind of unique tools. This is a circle cutter. It's useful for cutting wood. You can cut tin with it, but it's pretty hard on it. This one has been rode hard and put away wet. I've got a couple of these already. This will go in the bin of things that just in case. Then we've got an easy out. This looks to be a steel parallel, not in very good shape. This is a 15 thousandths shim. marked 15 on there, and I checked it with a pair of micrometers, and it is 15 thousandths. It's a little pocket T-square. Pretty rough shape, but I'm going to see if I can clean it up. I like these just because they're kind of a dying thing now. Everybody uses a pair of dial indicators rather than using a scale. And this is a 1 degree Morse taper drill bit for usually used in a drill press or a lathe. This is would be a small lathe. This is a number 1 Morse taper. Most of the lathes that I have are number 2 or bigger. But this is a brad point bit that somebody ground into a brad point for a special purpose. Kind of cool, keeping it around. This, I don't know what it is. Really tiny tuning fork. Too small to make a sound I can hear. This looks like part of an indicator. And from all the stuff in this toolbox, I'm wondering if maybe somebody was involved in the machine tool trade. Now this is just odds and ends. I don't know what they all for. This is obviously 1/4 inch lag bolts. This is a shank for a screwdriver, so you can put a 1/4 inch socket on it. That's just a piece of bar stock, another piece of bar stock, 2 old Phillips head screwdrivers, and this is something somebody made. I don't know what it's for. Got 4 equally spaced cuts on there. Square shank on this. Got me. Pin punch, starter punch. This is a prick punch. This is a center punch. You can tell this one because there's a little sharper points. Probably not the 60 that it should be, but you know, not everybody grinds everything perfectly. This is a center punch because it's a 90-degree point on it. Don't know if that's what they used it for, but that's the angle of the point. Little tiny hand cold chisel. And this looks to be a set for eyelets, like you'd put in a pair of shoes. These are concrete drills. Kind of a unique one here. I've never seen one made quite like that. Seen a lot of these. Literally hundreds of these. And a few of these. That fast twist. Not a big fan of fast twist on the concrete drills. They tend to plug up. But they're all in good shape. None of them got the tip broke on them. So we'll keep those around too. Now I'll reset for the next batch. This says model 1916. Hard to read what these stampings are. F and B, S and B. Looks like S and B 1916. So it'd be model of 1916, S and B 1916. Looks to be a military stamping because it's got kind of a green color on this. Hard to tell, it's been around a while. But it'll make a nice tray for on the bench. This is a cool thing. This and this go together. They're in pretty sad shape. They've been rusted up. This one just has some black rust on it. They call that patina in the antique business. This is surface rust. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to make it kind of crappy. So I'll have to clean the rust off of that before I get to use it. This is an adjustable drill bit. With this bit in there, it'll go out to about 3 inches. I have one very similar to this. This is an Irwin. Mine goes out to about 3 inches, so I'm assuming this one comes pretty close if it doesn't hit it exactly. This little one looks to be able to drill about maybe 1.5 inch hole, because that's the 1 inch mark there. Then there's a 1/2 inch of travel, so might make 2 inches. Who knows? We'll have to try it. But this one's been beat up pretty bad, and somebody cut the shank off. They ran it in a power drill. These don't work so well in a power drill because that auger is what pulls it in, and if you're spinning it too fast, it just tears the pilot thread right out. This is kind of a cool little thing. This is a tap handle. Now, more than likely this was made by an apprentice, somebody who's studying to become either a machinist or a tool maker. This would be a project for an apprentice. You have to become a machinist before you become a tool maker. But it looks kind of cool. I chose to make a drill press vise for my apprenticeship project. And this guy evidently made a tap. Now, some journeyman made you make a whole lot of tools. You were supposed to be able to make every tool in your toolbox. I was able to buy most of my tools, and I was only a tool maker for a short period of time. Had a quick apprenticeship, and in 5 years' time I was a tool maker working on building dies. Then I went into supervision. No more die making. Had the skills, just didn't need them. Hole punch for punching leather. After knocking the slugs out, I can see somebody punched a whole lot of paper. Print's too large to get any full word off of any one of the pieces, but it looks like somebody punched holes for a hanger or something in a book. Very cool little things to have. I have a few of them already, and this will go in this stack. These drill bits like this Irwin bit, they have a square shank. The size should be stamped on the shank somewhere, but these are too dirty for me to see, and I'll have to clean those up to know what they are. This is a gimlet bit, and somebody has file sharpened that gimlet bit. Normally there'd be threads on the end up here, but in filing it they cut those threads off. And the threads are what help pull it in. So this one you're going to have to just drive into the wood with main force. These you can drill steel with or wood. Can't drill any hard steel because they're carbon steel drill bits. But with a brace and bit, you're not going to be doing any high-speed drilling anyways. Now there were a handful of brass fittings in here. This is just a quick coupler for an air fitting. This is a left-hand thread, so that looks like an acetylene fitting. This is just a flare fitting. And this is another flare fitting. That looks like a 3/8 pipe thread. So this would be a 90-degree elbow for a 3/8 pipe thread. Finding it in brass is kind of unusual. And then I found this in the box and I said, well, that's kind of an odd thing. That's a valve. And then I noticed that it has an orifice in it. And I thought, huh, kind of a little, interesting little valve. Then in digging through, here in the bottom of the box was Hills Gas and Appliances, Rapid City, and Yankton, South Dakota. Hardwick Ranges. Your tri-temp adjuster. So I'm wondering, this little screwdriver and this makes me think that whoever owned this box of stuff did some work on gas equipment. That would explain the brass fittings and the valve with the orifice on it. And this little screwdriver, which was a special little tool made for a special little job, because I usually don't see them with this long a shank on them. These are pretty popular handouts. This is from Valley Industrial Products, somebody that used to sell me tools. And that's the difference in the shank size. This one came with a little magnet, so you can pick things up. Seems like a nice idea till you put it in your pocket and it's always full of filings and shavings and everything, so this one ended up in the toolbox. That's why it stayed in good shape. If it had been carried in my pocket, it probably would have got screwed up and lost. So that's everything in the box, guys. Sorry I made you wait so long.
If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. I kind of enjoy going through these old boxes of junk. You never know what you're going to find.